$1,000, said Mr. Tolman, the lawyer, in a serious voice. Here is the money. Young Jillian took the stack of $50 bills and laughed. What an odd amount, he said kindly to the lawyer. If it were $10,000, I'd throw a big party. Even $50 would be simpler to spend. You heard the reading of your uncle's will, said Mr. Tolman. Maybe you didn't pay attention, but there is one important condition. You must tell us how you spend this $1,000. Please make sure to follow your uncle's wishes. Of course, said Jillian politely. Jillian went to his club and found a man he called Old Bryson. Bryson was about 40 years old, calm, and not very friendly. He was reading a book in the corner. When he saw Jillian, he sighed and put down his book. I have a funny story for you, said Jillian. Tell someone else, said Bryson. You know I don't like your stories. But this one is good, said Jillian, lighting a cigarette. It's both sad and funny. My uncle left me exactly $1,000. What can I do with that amount? Bryson smiled in a way that meant he was about to be sarcastic. Why don't you buy Miss Lotta Laurier a diamond necklace? Then leave town and work on a sheep ranch. I've always thought you belonged with sheep. Great idea, said Jillian. I hate making lists, so spending it all at once sounds perfect. Jillian called a cab and told the driver to go to the Columbine Theater. Miss Lotta Laurier was getting ready for her performance when Jillian arrived. What is it, Bobby? I'm on stage in 2 minutes, she said. What do you think about a necklace? I have $1,000 to spend, Jillian said. Oh, Bobby, she replied. The necklace Della Stacy wore last night cost $2,200. $1,000 won't do much. Miss Laurier left for the stage, and Jillian walked back to his cab. What would you do with $1,000? He asked the driver. I'd open a bar, said the driver. I've got a perfect spot in mind. Interesting, said Jillian, but no thanks. I was just curious. 8 blocks later, Jillian got out of the cab. He saw a blind man selling pencils on the sidewalk. Jillian stopped and asked, What would you do if you had $1,000? The blind man took out a bank book and showed Jillian. It said the man already had $1,785 in the bank. Jillian smiled and went back to the cab. Take me to Tolman and Sharp's office, he said. At the office, Jillian asked Mr. Tolman, Did my uncle leave anything else for Miss Hayden besides the ring and $10? No, said Tolman. Thank you, said Jillian. He gave the cab driver the address of his uncle's house. Miss Hayden, a quiet young woman in black, was writing letters in the library when Jillian arrived. They found an extra note in my uncle's will, he said. He decided to leave you $1,000. I brought it for you. Miss Hayden looked surprised and emotional. "Oh, thank you," she said softly. Jillian looked out the window. "I suppose you know I love you," he said quietly. "I'm sorry," Miss Hayden replied. "No chance at all?" he asked lightly. "I'm sorry," she said again. "May I write something before I leave?" asked Jillian. She gave him paper and a pen, then returned to her desk. Jillian wrote, "Paid by Robert Jillian, $1,000 to the best and dearest woman on earth for her happiness." He put the note in an envelope, bowed, and left. Back at the lawyer's office, Jillian handed them the envelope. "Here is my report," he said, cheerfully. Mr. Tolman called his partner, Mr. Sharp. They opened a sealed envelope from the safe and read its contents. Then Mr. Tolman explained, "Your uncle's will had a secret condition. If you spent the $1,000 wisely or unselfishly, you would inherit $50,000. If you wasted it, the $50,000 would go to Miss Hayden. Now we will read your report." Before they could open it, Jillian grabbed the envelope and tore it to pieces. "No need to bother," he said, smiling. "I lost the money betting on horses. Good day, gentlemen." As he left, Tolman and Sharp shook their heads. Jillian whistled happily as he waited for the elevator.